So much like Siberia, which we've done reviews of, much like the Outback, which we've done reviews of, much like Greenland, which we've done reviews of, the Sahara Desert is just this massive piece of land where relatively few people live. Now, obviously, there are communities there are people there are cities there. There's a city called Timbuktu. That's a real city. It looks like a pretty big city in the middle of the Sahara Desert. It's called Timbuktu. This is a real place. Okay, there's a lot of places that I can't pronounce because the names are written in Arabic, and I don't speak Arabic. I don't read Arabic. I don't know how to pronounce the script. It's like if you put Chinese or Korean characters in front of me, I have no idea how to pronounce the script. Fortunately, this first place is, I think, a French name. It's called Poulet d'Or Restaurant. Poulet d'Or Restaurant. And our friend Anton says this about this restaurant in the Sahara Desert. 5 stars, a legendary restaurant in the heart of Timbuktu. Now, if you're like me, you thought Timbuktu was a made-up name of a made-up place. Turns out it is very real. But what's astounding is not the fact that Timbuktu exists or the 5-star review of the restaurant. It is the picture that Anton attaches, which is this. So I have many questions about this. First, what is it? Second, why is it? And then third, how does one eat this? Let me try to answer my own questions, coming from somebody who is narrow-minded and has never experienced a culture like this. First, what is it? Well, it looks like it's 5 fish heads that are buried in a pan of melted mozzarella cheese. Are the rest of the fish cooked into the cheese somehow? We don't know. All we know for sure is there's a lot of cheese involved and there are 5 fish heads. Second, why is it? And this is a really tough one to answer because if you remember, we're in the middle of a desert and these are fish. Fish swim in water. Deserts lack water by definition. How did we find 5 fish to fit into one dish in the middle of the Sahara Desert? And then third, how do you eat this? And the only answer that I can think of is you actually don't eat this dish. This dish eats you. Those fish aren't dead, and their heads are pointed directly at you, and you are not going to make it out of this dinner. Next, a perfume store that I can't pronounce the name of, and a review from a person that I can't pronounce the name of because I don't speak Arabic. But here's what we know. We know this is a perfume store, and this person says this, 5 stars, may God bless your livelihood. It's like somehow this perfume store has saved him from some terrible fate. It's like his wife smells awful. In this perfume store, he finally found the perfume that he needed to make her smell acceptable in public and around him. God bless you. I can finally stand to be around my significant other again. Thank you. Thank you so much. May God bless your livelihood. In a city called Jeanette, there is a market called Market. And Nabila says this about the market called Market. 2 stars. He suffers from neglect and neglect. This market is suffering from neglect. But worse than that, it's also suffering from neglect. I know many people who suffer from neglect, but at least they don't suffer from neglect and neglect. Next up, a restaurant that I can't pronounce the name of, and a reviewer that I can't pronounce the name of, says this about this restaurant. 5 stars. Thank you, restaurant. I mean, can you imagine if this was a review of an Olive Garden in the United States? Actually, this probably is a review of an Olive Garden somewhere in the United States. Thank you, restaurant. I mean, this restaurant did exactly what this guy needed. It gave him food to keep him alive. That's what we're all looking for. We should all do a better job of thanking the restaurants that we go to. And so I'd like to just shout out a restaurant that I went to many times in the last year. Every Sunday, I go to Chipotle and I call it Chipotle Day. And I walk from church to Chipotle to pick up my Chipotle on Chipotle Day. And I'd like to say this to Chipotle right now. Thank you, restaurant. Next, a shopping mall called Hamil Mall Shopping. You might be thinking this is a normal mall. No, this mall sells 3 very specific things, and those 3 things only, according to our reviewer, who I can't pronounce the name of, who says this, 3 stars, a mall that sells food, cleaning materials, and nuts. And there is no parking, which is always crowded. If you're in this town and you need food, let's say, Or if you're in this town and you need, let's say, bleach. Or if you're in this town and you need some nuts, this mall is the place for you. You see, this mall is a very niche mall. It's trying to find a target audience in this community. And what it's realized is, hey, the things that we make the most money on are simple. Food, cleaning materials, and nuts. And by the way, nuts are not food, okay? They're very distinct from food. They're their own category. You have all other foods, meat, dairy, bread, oil, spices, pepperoni, whatever that is, that's in one category. And then an entirely different category, separated by cleaning supplies, nuts, almonds, pecans, cashews, very different than food. Next up, I found a lounge, which I don't know what that is because we don't really have just like lounges in America. I think the closest thing is probably coffee shop, a soda shop if you live in Utah, I guess. Maybe like a hookah lounge or like a bar or something. We really don't have like lounges. But there's a lounge here, and our friend Mohammed says this about the lounge. 1 star, a place to play PlayStation and gelato. Okay, so a lot to say about this as well. Mohammed goes here to play PlayStation and play gelato. He probably meant eat gelato, but evidently he hates both of those things. He's like, my parents dropped me off here and they expect me to eat unlimited ice cream and play PlayStation with my friends, and I hate it here. This place sucks. But I guess if you're some kind of freak that likes PlayStation and gelato, maybe you'll like this lounge. I, for one, hate it. Next, I found a pharmacy, and a name I can't pronounce says this. 5 stars. Oh God, bless Muhammad. And attaches this image. This appears to be a sentient light bulb plugging itself into the wall. What does this have to do with the pharmacy? It's the wrong question to be asking. You should be asking, how did the light bulb plug itself in? If it was unplugged, how did it have the energy to plug itself in? And at the end of the day, I think there's one thing we can all agree on. Wherever Muhammad is, and whichever Muhammad this person is talking about, we want God to bless that Muhammad. If he's talking about the Prophet Muhammad, that guy's dead. So I don't know what he's asking for. I don't understand how that relates to the pharmacy at all if he's talking about the Prophet Muhammad. I have to assume he's talking about his friend Muhammad, who needs some antidepressants. Next up, we have a village hall, which again, I have no concept of. The closest thing we have is like a city center building, maybe, but like nobody goes there. I mean, what is it? What happens there? Why does it even exist? What is it? Anyway, Jamal says this about his village town hall. 1 star, all facilities are available. Jamal, who presumably came from a country like America, where you walk into one of these government buildings and everything is shut down, nothing really works, you can't access the toilet for some reason, the lights are flickering, there's like 3 people who work there and they're all just really upset. And there's just mounds of paperwork to get anything done anywhere. If you want to use the bathroom, you have to fill out like 5 or 6 different forms and get them notarized, turn in a vial of blood to prove your identity. Anyway, Jamal comes from one of these countries where he's used to town halls just not having facilities available. And it's really pissing him off that here in the middle of the Sahara is a town hall where all facilities are available. And so he has no choice but to rate this 1 star. Finally, a restaurant that I can't pronounce, and a reviewer whose name I can't pronounce, says this about the restaurant. 3 stars. I don't hate it, but the place is rather humble. He wants this restaurant to be very proud of itself. Instead, it is pretty humble. So people say how great it is, and the restaurant says, oh guys, shucks. I mean, not that great, just a restaurant. And this person hates that. He wishes that when people complimented this restaurant, it would say, yes, absolutely. In fact, I'm much better than you said that I was. I'm the best restaurant in the world. Just watch out for this guy if you own a restaurant, because he's going to expect you to own it. If you're still watching this, I love you more than the Sahara loves not getting rainfall, which is a lot. It means I love you a lot. Thank you for watching. I will see you next Friday.